We have confirmation of potentially a large tornado on the ground. Stay away from windows, bathroom, hall closet, some room in the middle of your house, a good place to go. Again, take a pillow or a cushion since this could be a large tornado, a strong one. We could see some. Go ahead, Josh.
And we're gonna keep the programming here, obviously on NBC6. We are going to be picking up the programming over on Fox 33 here shortly as well, since we do have a confirmed tornado that's on the ground. But just wanted to let you know, Todd, that we will be bringing in that new audience here very shortly.
And as you mentioned that, Josh, we do have the purple box here. That is an indication that this is now a confirmed tornado. Again, the debris ball signature, that is right here. It looks like it is basically from Tiller Road up to West Road. It is moving very close to Elysian Fields. So again, Elysian Fields, now's the time. Hopefully you're already there. And when you go to that bathroom or the hallway, take your phone or a closet. Take the phone with you. Again, we're streaming online. We'll keep you updated on when the storm has passed and perhaps conditions have improved for your area. So again, this is what we're looking at as far as the current location of the at least the debris signature indicated with this particular thunderstorm right now. Let's zero in on the latest velocity scan, and you can see how that matches up with that debris ball signature. So again, we do have a confirmation of a tornado that is currently on the ground. Spotters saying a potentially large tornado on the ground. And so we do have, again, a tornado, confirmed tornado warning right now. That's the reason why this is now blinking purple for Harrison County, especially the southeastern sections of Harrison County and parts of Caddo Parish as well. Everyone here from Greenwood to Wascom should watch this very closely. It looks like it'll probably track somewhere between Bethany and Wascom, and then eventually downstream, everyone near Blanchard and perhaps as far northeast as Benton, and basically between Bossier City and Benton should watch this storm very, very closely. Again, we do have a confirmation of a large tornado on the ground here, which is very close to Elysian Fields. Zero in, see if we can get some of the roads. Again, West Road, Tiller Road, here's Elysian Fields. It will soon move into that, into Elysian Fields if it hasn't already done so already. Again, we're getting more data which is coming in. You can see the debris now over Elysian Fields. And let's zoom this out and show you the motion of that signature. It's going to take several scans for that to come into play, but you'll get a pretty good picture, and I'll point it out. There it is right there.
And I think it's maybe turning a little bit to the east, so I have asked the folks in the Thunder Truck to go to Greenwood where it intersects 169. I think where they're at now, they're not in a safe spot, so they will go to Greenwood at 169. That way they can head south on 169. They should still be able to give us a good view of the storm, but we are moving them right now. And given that it may come up close to Greenwood, even in the Shreveport Metro, I know you mentioned Cross Lake, this would probably be headed up towards Cross Lake eventually, and into the western sections of Shreveport. Even here at the studio, we would be in a pretty tough spot. So, you know, folks here in the newsroom, we may have to ask you to leave the newsroom and head to the place of safety here in the building, which would be one of the makeup rooms or the control rooms here if it keeps on this current path. But it looks like it is going to be making a turn up towards Greenwood and maybe Cross Lake and eventually the Shreveport area.
And what I'll do is I'll try to, this would be the area right here that we would be watching as the potential path. So again, as Josh mentioned, close to Greenwood, Cross Lake, and then the station located right about here. It may pass a little bit to our north, but get pretty close. And then we would see it probably cross Highway 3 a little bit south of Benton before it moves up towards Ivan and Sarepta, maybe Cotton Valley. So this is the part of the Shreveport-Bossier City metropolitan area that could be impacted from this now confirmed tornado. So again, right now it's right here over Elysian Fields. Let me start the loop right here. So this is what we're watching right there. And you can kind of see the motion that it's going to be going here moving forward here during this is an hour's worth of forecast from Future Scan. Just kind of show you visually with a radar forecast on where that particular storm could eventually end up going. All right, so let's pause the loop here and give you another update on the current location of our tornado right now. Again, this is confirmed. It looks like it is near Old Town Road, east of Elysian Fields. Look, the intersection of this road, obviously it's the name of this road is not popping on. I don't think it's going to, but Old Town Road is where it's currently located. It will continue to move up, eventually crossing here. This would be Fox Hunting Road, it looks like that particular area is. So that is the location that this could eventually be going. Again, maybe a little bit south and east of Wascom. Josh mentioned the Thunder Truck relocating. Let's give you a look at that. Again, this is the view from the Ray Ford Thunder Truck. They are headed towards Greenwood, as Josh mentioned, towards State Highway 169, just to get out of harm's way from this tornado, which is headed there. This will move through, and they'll give us our first look at what give us a look at what is coming. Hopefully from a safe distance. It will be from a safe distance, and then show us what happens after any evidence of issues caused by that tornado. So again, the Ray Ford Thunder Truck now in Greenwood, and we'll be watching what happens as far as the eventual path of this tornado, and obviously keep them out of harm's way, and then send them to where we can get some images as to what is going on with this tornado. Again, this is the current location of the rotation, the tornado right now. Let's show you the latest as far as we've been tracking debris from this. That is still evident. You can see right here. So we still have a tornado on the ground south of Strickland Springs. Again, this road right here is not popping on, but it looks like it's just a few miles, a mile or two east of Old Town Road. Let me grab my measuring tool here and kind of show you exactly. So it is about a mile due east of Old Town Road. It is moving towards the...
And given that path, if it still moves a little bit to the east, it's going to be very close to all the Elysian Field, the ISD, and all of the schools are going to be right there off of 451. So this may cross just a little bit north of where the ISDs are. But this is going to be very close to the schools there.
Thanks for that information, Josh. So again, Elysian Fields here. We're looking at, again, the tornado, which is now a few miles to the east of Elysian Fields, and is going to be tracking probably over towards Greenwood, this general vicinity. Let's zoom this out and see if we have and switch over to the rotation aspect of things here with the velocity scan. And this will give us a look at the path that this is going to be taking here moving forward. So you can see the motion here towards the northeast. So between Wascom and Greenwood, and probably closer to Wascom and then Greenwood, Cross Lake, and then up towards Blanchard, and eventually close to Benton. We're looking at the far north and northwestern edges of the Shreveport-Bossier metro area is where the part of the Arkansas, of the metro area that this is going to be impacting. And you can see this thing is really wound up very nicely right now. As you can see, this is Oak Drive and looks like Fox Hunting Road. So if that kind of gives you a look at some of the smaller roads and streets and highways that are there across the southeastern sections of Harrison County. As far as the debris, it probably is still there. And again, that is indicated very close to Oak Drive. Again, we did have reports with actual eyes that there was a large tornado, and we do have debris that is being detected by the radar. So we do have again, a confirmed tornado on the ground here in southeastern Harrison County. Again, this tornado warning, if you're just tuning in, is in effect for another 10 minutes. We will see this extended back probably further to the north and east to eventually include basically the rest of the southern sections, at least middle sections of Caddo Parish and much of Bossier Parish as this expires here in the next tornado, next 10 minutes or so. Again, notice blue box, I should say purple box, that it means that we do have a confirmed tornado, the first confirmation of a tornado that we've seen across the area today. As we wait for more information on that storm, we have another storm that's further to the south that is also worth watching as far as Shreveport and Bossier City is concerned. You can see the storm, which is still here, just now moving into the northwestern corner of Shelby County. It's now just a little bit to the northwest of Timpson. It is going to track probably to the south of Carthage, and it looks like this one also may track near and south of Shreveport. So South Shreveport, South Bossier, Keithville, basically this part of the metro area, southern part of the metro area. We'll keep it posted on this one, as that could be the part. Of course, it's a long way out. We could see some changes in the trajectory, but that is, again, a possible path that this could take as it moves out of Texas into northwest Louisiana here during the rest of the afternoon. And as far as the rest of the Arklatex is concerned, zoom out really quickly. We do have, again, another severe thunderstorm, I should say tornado warning that's further to the south there in Angelita County. We have more storms firing up here, moving into the southern sections of the Arklatex, Sabine, and Natchitoches parishes. It is warmer down here, so we will have to keep an eye on these as they move deeper into the Arklatex here during the next couple of hours. Tornado watch is in effect pretty much for any location here in East Texas and pretty much all of northwest Louisiana, much of southwest Arkansas, at least the eastern sections of southwest Arkansas and East Texas here. It's in effect until 10 p.m. as we'll see this threat gradually end from west to east here. It's going to take several hours for that to happen, probably the next 5-6 hours. We'll see this threat continue. All right, we probably do have another update on the location of this this tornado, which is again continuing to make some progress. You can very clearly see the debris signature on the radar here. It looks like it's crossing Fox Hunting Road there in Harrison County. And kind of give you some perspective, this is where we are. This is Wascom, and it looks like as of right now that the storm is about 5 miles southwest of Wascom. Now, it does look like it's going to continue to move in this general direction, probably crossing Interstate 20, very close to the state line, actually, if not a little bit further to the east, closer to Greenwood. Let me clear off the radar here and try to put this in the motion one more time to kind of get a sense on the path that this could be taking. All right, so you can kind of see the last couple of scans show something like this. Watch the last couple of scans and you'll kind of see if you project that forward, it looks like it's going to be somewhere here a little bit to the east of the state line is where we will see it cross Interstate 20. Between Greenwood and Wascom, we'll see it cross the state line as it is moving in this general direction. And if that continues, I'm going to kind of move this forward. And it looks like we do have another. You can probably hear all the phones going off here in the newsroom as we do have a tornado warning that does include our location here at the station. And your phone in Shreveport is probably going off because of this particular tornado warning. So as I was going to do, I want to draw this forward here, kind of give you a sense on the path that this could be taking. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the two debris ball signatures that I see, one right there and one right there. So that is where it's gone in the last couple of scans. I'm going to keep that one in play here, and this will kind of show us where this could be going here. And so you can see if it continues this path, we would see it cross I-20, again, a little bit to the east of the state line. We would see it move here's over the western tip of Cross Lake, and then cross Highway 1 there a little bit to the south and east of Blanchard, and then eventually move up to a little bit to the south of Benton if this continues. Now, just for safety, obviously, we do have this, the tornado warning box, which is, again, if you're in this box, if your phone went off in the metro area here, it's go to your place of safety. But this is the general area that we're looking at if you want to be more specific. Again, close to the state line near Wascom, and then the western tip of Cross Lake, near Blanchard, near Benton, and obviously points in between is where this tornado could be headed here. And we still, here on the latest scan of the radar, do still have, again, some debris being detected by the radar here as it's getting closer and closer. And you can see how, again, this scan came out since I've drawn the line. So it looks like this is, and you can see another one. More data has just come out. So you can kind of see that the line that I've drawn, that we have seen, that it looks like it's pretty much on target as far as the location that this could be headed. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my pencil here, and since this will stay on when I move in, I'm going to try to draw on this line, and that'll let me kind of show you perhaps some of the streets. I think I can do that. So let me, obviously I can't. Oh well. It was an idea. But nonetheless, we would probably see it, again, cross over the western tip of Cross Lake, Hidden Harbor Estates, Dune Estates. Again, as we get into the metro area, some of the neighborhoods do come into play. Indian Hills Estates, Northwoods, that could be an area that could be impacted here. And then we would see it, kind of get my bearings here on where I am. And then we would see it move up probably a little bit south of Benton, maybe as far south as Kingston Plantation. And there, between there and Benton is where this could cross Louisiana Highway 3 and eventually cross what is in this part of Bossier Parish, Palmetto. So again, south of Benton is where this tornado could be going. Again, right now, let me stop this and show you the latest on its current location. Again, this is the easiest way to do that. This is the debris detection indicator. This is, in other words, the radar is seeing what is not weather related. It knows shapes of objects that are not basically come from Mother Nature, and that's what you're seeing right here. So this likely is debris near Doggy, or I should say Boggy Road, and see if I can get these to get a little bit bigger. East Shreveport, Camden Road, and this is Magnolia Road. So that this basically is the area that we are looking at debris right now, and we likely will see this move. And you can see that this is Interstate 20 right here.
And that would be crossing very close to, if you know where Gators and Friends is, it's going to be crossing very close to Gators and Friends. So if you can kind of orient yourself and know some of the businesses that are around there, if you're in that location, gives you some sense of where this debris is.
So again, this is where our tornado currently is. Let me put the velocity on there, and you can kind of see it. Actually, this is newer information. Looks like it is getting close to Interstate 20 right now. So I'm going to zero in on this part of the area. And unfortunately, this is Pine Brook Road. There's Walden Ferry Road, maybe close to that or a little bit points north. And then downstream, there's Devers Road, if I'm seeing that correctly. And again, I'm zooming out here. This is South Lakeshore. But this is where our current tornado warning is. Zoom out, and you can kind of see this is where our tornado is currently crossing Interstate 20, a little bit to the west, or I should say to the east of the state line. And the Rayford Thunder Truck stationed in Greenwood. Let's see what they're seeing from the truck right now. This is the view from the truck. You can see the wind picking up just a bit as looks like they are there at, I'm not sure the exact location.
Maybe the Loves, the travel stop that's out there. I believe that's where they may be.
That could be, because obviously a lot of truck traffic there. It's obviously very close to Interstate 20, and they probably have the camera pointed back towards the west, and that is where this is going to be coming through. I doubt that it'll be close enough, obviously, to see, but what will happen is after the storm passes, then they will go on the move, and there is a reporter in the truck as well, and they will be able to give us a look at, or at least a look at some of the damage that may have been caused by the tornado, which again is going to be and is currently moving into the far western sections of Caddo Parish. So again, that is the view from the Ray Ford Thunder Truck as we speak. I'm going to keep this in mind. Let me take a look and zero in. Probably, again, this is where they are currently located, somewhere right about in here. And again, it looks like our tornado is just a few miles to the northwest of them. So about 3 miles away is where the current location of that tornado is from the Ray Ford Thunder Truck.
And I think they're definitely looking through the rain right now, but in about 5 to 10 minutes or so, once the rain is north of them, we should get a great view of the backside of the storm here.
Okay. Thanks, Josh. Let's see what I was going to, I was trying to get my bearings on what I was going to look at. So it looks like it's a little bit harder that we're starting to lose that debris ball signature somewhat. This could be somewhat what is left of it, but nonetheless, you can kind of see the track that this is going to be taking. Again, we had it, I'll zoom this out and put this in the motion, and you can see our tornado on the ground right there. So this is obviously what's left of it, of the debris ball signature, and you can see if we draw all those lines together, western half of Cross Lake, and then it continues to move here and probably passes south of Benton. So again, all these areas need to keep a close eye on this particular tornado. Again, this tornado warning that is currently in effect for Caddo and parts of Bossier parishes in effect for another 30 minutes until 4:30 p.m. This afternoon. So that is one storm that we're watching. And again, Josh is going to keep an eye on that one. I want to cover the storms that are back further to the south. It's been a while since we've talked about those because those also could pose some issues. We do have this particular possible tornado, which is right now north of Tenaha, south of Carthage. This could eventually track across the southern sections of Shreveport and Bossier City here in the next, let's say, 45 minutes to an hour. And then we have another storm, this one very well defined. You can see the red, green. We have our tornado located right about here. And this is way down here in Angelina County. And this, too, will move towards the northeast and will take a path perhaps closer to Mansfield as opposed to Shreveport. So since I have both of these on the map here, let me show you where these could be going here with a look at future scan with the radar. And again, what this does, takes the radar, gives us, based on the current radar, the last several scans of the current radar, and gives us a visual forecast on where these storms could be going. So let's talk about this one down here to the south first of all. Again, this is the storm here. This is where it's going to be going here in the next hour. So that is a little after 5, okay? It's right about in here, a little after 5. If you project that forward, Mansfield could come into play, eventually Ringgold, Minden, say closer to 6. This storm right here, you can see it moving south of Shreveport in the next hour. That would eventually move up a little bit north of Minden if it holds together. All right, and we have seen the trend recently. The storms have been able to survive the cooler air as they move further to the north. But this one, which is now in southern Panola County, right there, is going to move, again, take a course pretty close to the Caddo DeSoto Parish line, and then eventually up towards Minden here in the next hour and a half to 2 hours. The storm that we're watching in Caddo Parish, let's see if I can get a look at where this is. So this is the storm here, Blanchard, south of Benton, and then further downstream, we haven't mentioned Cotton Valley yet. Cotton Valley could be in the path of this one as well. So that's kind of give you a longer range look at where these this tornado and these possible tornadoes could be going. That's the view that we're looking at there from Future Scan. Okay.
And there is a tornado warning for Sabine Parish as well, possible tornado debris signature there. That would be with the cell that's near Florine. Just getting going. We'll keep an eye on that one. Nothing confirmed yet, but it looks like it is trending that way. Thanks,
Josh. And as we mentioned, that's the part of the Arklatex where it is warmer right now, so things are really beginning to fire up across especially the southeastern half of the Arklatex. And we're going to be looking at probably 4 or 5 more hours of this before we get all this activity out of the area. So stay tuned, as we'll be here to give you the latest. You can see, let's stop this and show you the possible tornado. I'm going to switch this over to the Fort Polk radar since it's a little bit closer. And again, this is our possible tornado here, just about ready to cross into Natchitoches Parish. This is Robeline. It probably will continue to move between Robeline and Provençal there in Natchitoches Parish. So right now, about ready to move out of Sabine Parish and move into Natchitoches Parish. This tornado warning is in effect until 4:45 p.m. This afternoon. Let me zoom out here and give you the latest on the location of our confirmed tornado here. And I got to switch over to the Shreveport radar, obviously. And again, you can see the progress that this is making. It looks like it is crossing Louisiana Highway 169 here. This is South Lakeshore. Obviously, Cross Lake is in this area, and this is basically Greenwood Mooringsport Road and Longwood. So it is fairly close to Longwood. Here's Blanchard, and I'll zoom this out and play this loop here and show you the progress that this is going to be making here, has made in the last hour, and you can kind of get a sense that it is moving towards the northeast. So you folks around Blanchard, especially near Blanchard itself, and eventually up towards Benton. You can kind of see as I zoom this out the progress that this is making here. It does look like a little bit of a jaunt maybe to the left here with the last scan.
Yeah, I would agree.
But so that would bring more Blanchard proper into play, and again closer to Benton. So it looks like it's getting closer to the northern part of this particular tornado warning that's currently in place there for Caddo and Bossier parishes. So if you live in Blanchard, if you live in Benton, or anywhere near or south of Benton, again, tornado warning in effect. We have confirmation of a touchdown from this particular storm. Since the Ray Ford Thunder Truck is in the neck of the woods, let's give you a look at the latest view from there. Looks like they're on Interstate 20 right now.
And they may be coming in behind the storm.
It looks like since it's I can't get a sense on what direction they may be headed towards, but that's the view from the Ray Ford Thunder Truck. Josh, have you been in contact with them to find out where they're going next?
I believe I'll check on it and see if they're headed,
Josh's
back towards the damage. But we have the other crew that was stationed in Mansfield. They'll be going up to check out maybe some of the damage there in Texas, and I'll see about the crews over in the Thunder Truck and see if they're posting up or if they're heading somewhere.
Obviously, Josh, I apologize. Your mic is not open. I'll wait for them. If those in the back, if you can tell me when Josh's mic is open, then I'll let him repeat what he said. But this is the view from the Ray Ford Thunder Truck, and is Josh, I think, his batteries.
I should be okay. You may have check your IFB. My batteries just died, so I went to unplug and replug that. But again, looks like our crew there that is in the Thunder Truck headed down I-20. And before we were looking through the rain, we're not seeing as much rain looking through the storm, so I have a feeling maybe they're coming in behind it on Interstate 20. But again, the latest tornado warning here with the storm definitely moving through Louisiana at this point, headed up towards Cross Lake. So all folks in Shreveport that got the alerts on their phone. That's what we'll be bringing you the updates on. We do have the other tornado warning that is currently in effect as well for Sabine Parish. This storm will eventually be crossing into Natchitoches Parish. So if you're in Natchitoches proper, the city of Natchitoches there as well, that area of rotation will likely be passing very close to you in about 20 to 30 minutes or so. So folks in Natchitoches and eventually down the line to Campty need to pay close attention to this one. But again, the storm of concern for us, at least right now, would be the storm that is moving through the Shreveport metro area, and we're still seeing some indications, at least on radar, that storm is holding together right now. So again, our potential area of rotation with this storm now located just to the southwest of Blanchard, and will likely be heading across the very northern sections of the city. In fact, we should get a pretty good look at it here from the studio, so I may duck out to the lobby, Todd, and see if I can see anything from there.
Okay, thanks, Josh. I thought it was your mic. It was my...
Well, mine had died, and I had just swapped out the batteries, so I think we're both back up and running now.
Okay, so we'll have to keep an eye on the mics now. But nonetheless, this is the view. And Josh, you mentioned where they are headed there in the Thunder Truck, so we'll get a view of what they're seeing here, and we'll keep an eye on that information. I'm sure they're working in the newsroom together. Any further information on the tornadoes, which continue to impact the Arklatex. So again, this is the latest location of our tornado. Again, it is, as of right now, getting very close to Blanchard. So we're looking at Hidden Acres, Dune Estates, some of the neighborhoods that are popping on. This is what we're looking at as far as the current location of our possible tornado here. As I'm trying to get the stop this so that we can kind of talk about this a little bit more. You can see Hidden Acres, Dune Estates, some of the neighborhoods downstream, Indian Hills Estates. Going to be looking at north, that is Soda Lake. I can't make that out on here. But again, here's Benton. So again, and this is Interstate 49. So we'll see it probably cross Interstate 49 a little bit to the. Obviously, I'm trying to read these roads on here, but the font is a little bit too small. But nonetheless, again, getting very close to Blanchard right now. Indian Hills Estates, again, Hidden Acres, Dune Estates. This is the area that we're looking at as far as the possible tornado there in Blanchard. Again, vantage points. Josh mentions that he's going to take a look outside the studio. We are located right about here. And again, the storm passing a few miles to our north and west. So again, we're right about, get my bearings here on exactly where we're located. We're right about in here. So we'll probably see this cross North Market, probably pretty close to Blanchard, about 6 miles away from us. So we'll be okay here in the studio. But again, the path that this is going to take is that it will cross Highway 71 and then continue to move up towards Benton. So you folks in and near Benton should watch this very closely. Even as far south as, say, Kingston Road. From there and all the way up to Benton, and maybe even a little bit north of Benton, given that we have seen a little bit of a turn towards the left, would be advised to, again, be prepared to, if you haven't already done it already, seek your place of safety. So go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I just went out to the lobby. Can't see much from there, but very, very strong motion in the atmosphere. So those winds are kind of screaming through right now. A lot of traffic out on North Market at the moment. We know this is the time a lot of folks getting out of work. So if you are watching the coverage here, I would just stay where you're at and stay off of the roadways. Obviously, that is one of the worst places that you can be right now, but there's definitely a concerning amount of traffic that's out on the roadways right now with that storm approaching. Todd?
That's true, Josh, and these are coming at, a very bad time. Obviously, school's letting out an hour or two ago, and hopefully all the kids are fine. I understand KTAL Parish released early, so that's good. So again, we are looking at this potential tornado here very close to Blanchard, potentially heading up towards Benton, Louisiana, and then we could see it cross into Webster Parish, somewhere between Sarepta and Cotton Valley. So that's where this one is going. This is not the only potential tornado that we have. We have another one, a very good signature here, which is over the southeastern sections of Panola County. This one is going to move up towards Keithville and Stonewall. So while we have the tornado now over the northern sections of the Shreveport-Bossier metro area, we have another one which is waiting in the wings to move across the southern edge of the metro area down towards Keithville, close to the Caddo, Wallace Lake, that part of the metro area in South Shreveport, and also South Bossier. So again, this one is a ways away still, but still, again, you folks in the south part of the metro area, we'll keep you posted on when this is getting closer to us and if it does show any signs of weakening. We have another potential tornado, which is here in just outside of our area. Again, this is Shelby County. This is basically parts of Nacogdoches and San Augustine counties. Show you this one because this also a potential tornado which is going to move into southern Shelby County. This one will track pretty close to Shelbyville and eventually up towards potentially Mansfield. So just kind of giving everyone a heads up here on the storms that we're watching right now across the area and the path that they could be looking at here in the next hour or two. And further to the east, we do have another potential tornado. This one actually looks better on the Fort Polk radar. So we'll switch over to the radar out of Fort Polk and show you the velocity scan there. And you can see our potential tornado here. Again, the radar in Fort Polk, red away, green towards. This is where our possible tornado is currently located, a few miles to the south of Robeline, several miles to the west of Provençal. Probably will cross this state highway midway between Robeline and Provençal. And it looks like it probably will stay a little bit to the east of Natchitoches. Although you folks in Natchitoches will have to keep an eye on this one. It does look like this potential tornado will pass a little bit to the east of your area. So again, this is what we're looking at right now. 1, 2, 3, 4 tornado warnings that are currently in effect. We do have some wind issues, severe thunderstorm warning for the storms that are further to the north there in southern Arkansas. It looks like Magnolia getting the strongest of the storms right now. Once that clears Magnolia, you're pretty much done. Texarkana, the worst is over for you. And I might add that once this line here moves through Shreveport-Bossier, we will be out of the woods as well. It's probably going to take an hour or two for that to happen. But again, we have to get these storms through the metro area before we can sound the all clear for Shreveport and Bossier City. And just kind of zooming out, again, we have all these storms here, which are going to be moving towards the north and east. So it's going to be a very active, several hours here late this afternoon and this evening for the southeastern half of the Arklatex. So that's the overall big picture view of what's happening. We probably have more information on the location of that tornado, which is moving into the northern sections of the Shreveport-Bossier metropolitan area. Trying to zoom in and see the latest here. It's kind of difficult to see. Looks like it's a little bit to the east of Blanchard. Oh, I know what I need to do. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, if it's still there, it's going to be crossing right over the main street. So Shreveport-Barksdale Highway at the intersection of Pine Hill Roads. This will actually be approaching Interstate 49 if there is anything in there. On radar, yeah. It's kind of difficult to see where that circulation would be right now. And that may just be a factor of it being close to the radar side as well, since it's a little lower to the ground. So if we still do have a tornado there, it is going to be headed to the east-northeast, probably closing very close to I-49, close to North Market, as well as the Northwoods and One North Place.
All right, so this is, again, this is the split right here. 71 goes north. You have North Market, which goes up towards Blanchard. And, of course, you get off of North Market right here. So it looks like it's going to be crossing Interstate 49, maybe a little bit north of the intersection between Highway 1 and Interstate 49. That, if it hasn't happened already, will do so fairly shortly. Let's go back to the velocity scan of the radar. Again, it's somewhat difficult to see with this. So it could be a function of the location. Let's take another look at another piece of data. Yeah, it does look like it's right here. So it's getting very close to Interstate 49. As Josh mentioned, we do have, here's the intersection of Highway 1 and 49. So it's probably crossing that near Albany Road in One North Place. There would be some more detailed locations. Kind of show you some areas downstream. Here's Kingston Plantation. In other words, Kingston Road, for those of you between Bossier City and Benton, that is a landmark that you probably are aware of. Here's the Legacy neighborhood, Kingston Plantation along Kingston Road, and then we have basically Benton Road, which goes from there up towards Benton. You have the high school and middle school in this area here, and it does look like, so we're talking about the possible tornado crossing Interstate 49, a little bit north of Highway 1, and again, possibly moving somewhere between Benton and Kingston Plantation. Just to be a little bit more general here, since it's kind of hard to see the exact location. And even since we have seen a little bit north of Benton, you might be extra careful as well, as if you're not already, given the situation. But again, this is the latest location. It is becoming a bit more difficult to see exactly the location of this based on the velocity scan. If we go to the traditional radar, again, it does look like it's getting close to Interstate 49 there. This is the area near and north of the intersection with Highway 1. Again, this is the Highway 1, 171. We do have the, we do have the, Josh telling me he's going to go take another look. We do have the split here. 71 goes up towards Texarkana and Caddo Parish. You can see Highway 1 goes up towards Blanchard and Oil City, and it looks like this is the area, as we wait for more data to come in, that we would see the possible tornado go to. Let's move back down to the south, and again, we have, notice the cylinder being indicated here. That's something we don't like seeing on days like today, as we have our possible tornado here. There's DeBerry. Here is Carthage, and again, that possible tornado here is, try to grab the right product here, is located, you can clearly see that, it is located here south of DeBerry, looks like it is going to cross. Now, this is the intersection of basically Caddo Parish, DeSoto Parish, and Panola County. So if you have that triple intersection there, it's going to come fairly close to that point. And then we'll see it continue to move up towards Keithville, Stonewall, and eventually we could see it move in this part of Shreveport and Bossier City. So just to kind of give you a heads up in the metro area, Ellaby Road Estates, Ellaby Woods, you got the Southern Loop, maybe Southern Trace. You're looking at Golden Meadows, perhaps Southern Gardens. This part of Shreveport-Bossier, if this holds together, this could be a part of the metro area that this particular potential tornado could be going as it moves towards the north and east. Definitely hot in Princeton and eventually Minden. It could make it that far to the north and east as well. And after I look at the remaining rotations that we have, I'll show you a future scan, and we'll show you an hour's worth of forecast here in a second. But you can see this one probably, again, it's outside of our area, but will soon move into the southern sections of Shelby County. We do have a tornado warning there for Shelby County that's in effect until 5 p.m. This evening. That will move up towards Mansfield, eventually Grand Bayou, or I should say Ninock, Ringgold, the Lake Bistineau area could come into play, excuse me, with that one. And then we have another potential tornado, which is spinning its wheels here in Natchitoches Parish. This moving through a fairly rural part of Natchitoches Parish. Here's Natchitoches itself. This is more than likely going to move closer to Campty than it will the Natchitoches area. Your phone, if you live in Natchitoches, may have gone off since you're on the edge of this polygon here, this tornado warning. It does look, in case you're watching in Natchitoches, that this possible tornado will stay to the west and to the north of Natchitoches, at least in this particular case. So let's move back out here, and before I call out Future Scan once again, I want to look at the Ray 4 Thunder Truck. Another view from the crew there in Smooth and Megan Henry in the truck there, as it looks like they are on Interstate 20 once again, maybe heading back towards, that's Jason Stevens, by the way. See if I can see with that sign there. It looks like they are...
Looks like I believe they are headed
east
to Wascom again, so they may be looking for some damage over there. But they may have turned and come back down I-20, but last I heard they were headed over to Wascom.
Let me see what this sign says, and that'll tell us. It looks like they may be coming back here. Yeah, they're coming back here. It looks like they're getting off of 220. So it is getting closer to sunset. So, and what they might be doing is heading up towards Blanchard to see if we have any issues there. So I take that back because I didn't get off. Looks like they're going south. I don't know. So looks like they're going on the Interloop, headed south. So they may be trying to get to that storm that is still well to the south. It may be dark before that one gets there, though. So we'll see how that plays out. So again, that's the view from the Ray 4 Thunder Truck. Again, is kind of a perspective. There's where the radar data comes from as they pass the Weather Service there on the Interloop there in the western sections of Shreveport. So that being said, let's show you what that radar is showing us, and you can see the numerous tornado warnings that we currently have in place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call up FutureScan here and show you the latest on the forecast that it provides. Again, what this does takes the last couple of scans of the radar and kind of shows us where the cells that we have now could be an hour from now. So that being said, let's talk about the one further to the north. And I'm going to zoom this one in here. And so we're talking about this cell. So you can see Blanchard, close to Rocky Mount, Sarepta, eventually Emerson. Again, we're talking an hour. That's where that could be going. All right. Again, let's zero in on this cell. Again, this one, Keithville, up south Shreveport and Bossier City, up towards Houghton. That's where it could go here in the next hour. So this is an hour. This is about 5 o'clock. South Shreveport as well as the Keithville area as where that could be. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here with this one. So we'll see if that holds together. And you can see that the storms that are further to the south, again, we'll let this loop start. Again, right here is what we're looking at. This Newville, eventually up north of Benson, and then pretty close to Mansfield about an hour from now. So about 5:30, we would see this storm here in northern San Augustine County move across Toledo Bend and move into DeSoto Parish. Again, look at the radar here. You can see the thunderstorms that are currently in place. I think what's going to happen here is that the activity here with this particular thunderstorm, it's somewhat in question whether or not we'll see this warning extended. Let's stop this and take a look at things here and show you the latest scan of the radar and see if we can see exactly what we're looking at in terms of a location of that potential tornado. You can see again, it is becoming a little bit harder to find here. So it's quite possible that we have seen that threat decline as far as this possible tornado that we had earlier. Again, it tracked very close to Blanchard, a little bit to the east of Wascom. We did have, again, debris from this one when it was very close to Elysian Fields when it was reported that there was a large tornado on the ground. So this does have a history of producing tornado damage. It is looking as if it's weakening somewhat as it approaches the Benton area. So the chances of having something on the ground, just the way it looks right now on the radar, both on the traditional radar view and on the velocity scan, looks like it is going down, which of course is good news. But you folks at Benton, let's give it a couple more minutes before we give you the all clear, but things are looking better at the present time as well. Further to the south, what I want to do here now, I just thought of something else. It's been a while since I've looked, since we have had several tornado warnings that have been issued, and again, a confirmation of a touchdown. Here's a look at the latest power outage numbers across the region. And you can see, surprisingly, nothing really too much across I suspect we'll start to see the numbers here in Harrison County go up. I'm going to go ahead and play this, and this is an hour's worth of data. So surprisingly, we really don't have that many power outage numbers power outages being reported. Again, this comes from not only SWEPCO, but at least pretty much every power supplier in the country feeds this data source that is being injected into Pinpoint Doppler. So again, this applies to pretty much any location here across the Arklatex. This is an encouraging sign, especially for you folks further to the north, maybe out ahead of those storms there in Columbia County. Okay, let's go back to the radar and show you the latest on the storms that we are currently watching across the area. Let's stop this. Again, it looks like we are seeing things improve with the storm here, which is, again, approaching Benton.
And they have dropped that tornado warning.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Yep. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it. So that's good news. So it looks like the threat has ended as far as tornadic activity with the storm approaching Benton. We still have some concerns, as I've mentioned several times here. The issue probably is going to be with these cells for the rest of the evening until this line catches up with this stuff. So these cells are developing in air where it is quite a bit warmer. Again, we were in the mid-60s in Shreveport today, mid-70s down here. So the atmosphere a bit more unstable. And so we're seeing these stronger storms develop. And as they move further to the north, eventually they get to the point to where they lose that support and they start to fall apart. So let's see how long it takes for that to happen with this particular cell, which again is just about ready to cross out of Panola County. And this is the intersection of Caddo, DeSoto, and Panola. And it looks like it's getting very close to that part of the area. Zoom in here with the velocity scan. Again, this is the current location of our possible tornado. Quick look at if we can see anything as far as debris. Can't say yay or nay on that. It's not as distinct as the one that we had near Elysian Fields. But this is going to be moving. Again, you folks here in Stonewall, in Keithville, south part of Caddo Parish, basically south of the industrial loop, south part of Bossier Parish, pretty much anywhere near or south of, let's say, the Jimmy Davis Bridge, maybe even a little bit north of that. Keep an eye on this, as this storm here and the possible tornado could eventually impact your areas. As again, right now we're watching this one just about ready to cross into this is the far southwestern tip of Caddo Parish right now, and kind of a look at the
just the radar presentation looks a lot like the last storm, so I am concerned that one's trying to spin up right now.
Yeah, so and you can kind of see this is this cleans things up a bit. This is the rotation product here with Pinpoint Doppler. A lot of times it's not as sensitive, but this shows a pretty good presentation of this. So let me put this in the motion and show you where this storm has been. So you can see where it has gone, and you can see in the last scan here that we have seen a little bit more organization. So you can see where it's been. Let me show you the track of this, and so you can kind of see and stop this. This kind of shows us in more detail where these storms have gone. So again, we had our one storm. This is the one which has just fallen apart as it has crossed into Bossier Parish and approached the Benton area. And you can see that we have another one that is that moved just north of Timpson. So if you basically extend this line here to the northwest, you can clearly see Keithville, and eventually we're looking at the south part of Shreveport and Bossier City. So right here is the Jimmy Davis Bridge. And so you're looking at Spring Lake Estates, University Park, Dixie Gardens, Southern Gardens, Golden Meadows, all these neighborhoods here in South Bossier and Southeast Shreveport, Spring Lake Estates, Ellerby Road Estates. Again, Southern Hills, maybe a little bit south of there, but those are all areas where this could move through with this potential tornado here. Again, this tornado warning is in effect until 5 o'clock. And so that means, based on the Weather Service warning, it would be right about here at 5 o'clock if that is accurate. Since we have these, you can see another. This is a track that we had earlier from a cell. Let's put this in the motion during the past hour. And this is one that was from a cell that we tracked earlier. So that's, again, you can see how that fell apart as it moved to the north. We have another track again. This one not showing up very well. This one here in Natchitoches Parish. So the rotation has been relatively weak with that one. And you can see that we had the one earlier that, again, this more probably straight line wind here with this particular cells. We had one that was, again, probably produced some issues around Longview. Remember, tornado warnings were issued with that. Fell apart as it approached Jefferson, and then we saw it evolve into more than likely more of a straight line wind concern. That is moving towards the east. But the main concern, there are two concerns right now, actually. We have this cluster of, again, potential rotation tornado, possibly, which is could eventually move across the southern sections of Shreveport and Bossier City. And then we have more storms popping up further to the south that could impact the southeastern sections of the area here later on this evening. All right, so again, as far as the northern sections of Shreveport and Bossier City, we do have some very heavy rain right now falling from Plain Dealing down to Benton and over towards Oil City and Mooringsport. Again, that tornado warning that was issued earlier has expired and is no longer in effect. So the tornado risk here, it looks like it has gone down somewhat. We do have, again, this is that warning that I mentioned that was associated with that. Again, the main band of heavy rain is actually north of there. And then we have this potentially tornadic storm, which is now crossing out of Panola County into the southwestern corner of Caddo Parish. And this headed up towards Keithville and eventually up towards South Shreveport, South Bossier, eventually Princeton, Houghton will be in line to receive any damage that this may present in that particular area. Understand the Rayford Thunder Truck, they were heading south on 220. So let's see where they're going now. Looks like we'll see exactly where they are. Looks like they are on the inner loop. It looks like they're getting off on Burt Coons. They're on 49 and they're getting off on Burt Coons. So they're going to try to see. They're running out of daylight here, so they won't be out too much longer. But they're going to try to intercept that storm that is now moving into the southwestern sections of Caddo Parish. So we'll see what that we can see from the truck if it gets in a safe and distance from that particular storm. So they are now located right about, zoom in down here, they are now located right about here, I believe, and we'll be headed on the industrial loop somewhere down in here. So I imagine they'll head to the west or to the east from that particular location, and maybe even there are not too many places. Maybe go down Highway 1 might be a way to go to get to the south of that.
Very impressive radar presentation on that storm now.
Yes,
that is going to be moving up towards Stonewall and Keithville.
And Josh mentioning the impressive, you can kind of see how it is wrapped up and show you the velocity scan of this one. Have you looked at the debris ball?
Nothing on debris, but the velocity scan looks exactly like the one over in the Elysian Fields did, so I wouldn't be surprised if this one is tightening up.
Yeah, you can see it right there.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's quite possible that we do have something on the ground here. I'm going to try to get inside this cylinder here and see some of these roads that will pop on. You can see that is Johns Road, and trying to get to where I can read that.
Yeah, Johns Road. You've got
Keachai Marshall.
Yep, Keachai Marshall Road, Four Forks Road right there, Paula Street, as well as I believe Rita Street. So those would be the locations directly in line for this in the next just few minutes. And
let's assume this arrow is correct, and we'll continue down the road here. So again, Caddo Drive,
yes,
and that's Four Forks Road, and here's a Lane Drive, and we're just going to continue to follow this yellow line. Russ Lane, Williams Road. Russ Lane seems. I recall that from a previous tornado, if memory serves me correctly. There's Williams Road. Let's see, Keith Hall Road, if I'm reading that correctly, and there's Keithville. There's Barron Road, Stagecoach Road, and as we get into Shreveport and Bossier, you'll see some of the neighborhoods start to pop on here. There's Kingston Road, Linwood Avenue, Sevens Road, and you can kind of see what we're looking at here in terms of the parts of the Arklatex where this could be going. So again, you can see some of the neighborhoods popping up here in relation to the potential, again, give or take, obviously, any degree of small error associated with the radar-driven forecast. But that is the path that this rather impressive-looking rotation indicated here with the radar could take across the extreme southwestern, southern, and eventually southeastern sections of Caddo Parish. And eventually, we'll see it again move into Bossier Parish. Again, if I basically take this line and draw it forward, you can kind of get a sense on where this could be going here in relation to South Bossier. I believe Parkway is right here. So this
and I think this would probably cross near Camp Forbing, right? So it would be very close to Camp Forbing and then maybe cross over into Bossier, as you just mentioned, in those locations. So, yeah.
So if you, again, anyone in this part of Shreveport and Bossier City, a tornado warning, so far, again, you're not under a tornado warning in these areas yet, all right? This warning here expires at 5 o'clock. So we still have a ways to go. We're just kind of giving you a heads up that you need to keep an eye on. Stay tuned, because if this maintains its organization, continues to move along the direction that it is currently moving, then it will impact Keithville, South and Southeast Shreveport, and the southern sections of Bossier City here in the next hour and a half or so, eventually moving up towards Houghton during that time frame. So again, zooming in the latest scan of the velocity and see if we can see anything as far as debris. We're getting closer to the radar here, so it's a little bit harder to tell. Again, there's a lot here. It's kind of hard to say that is debris. So
it does somewhat
right
line
there.
up. Yeah, it's only one scan that shows it that impressive, but that's what the last one did too.
Yeah,
so I mean, it has been trying to strengthen and really get circulating. So it wouldn't be surprising if there maybe was something there.
So there you go, and you can kind of see how that matches up. So again, kind of messy here. That usually happens when you're a little bit closer to the radar. So again, we have no confirmation as of yet of anything.
No, if it's there next scan, I bet we'll get our confirmation.
Yeah.
But it's only been one scan that we've seen that possible debris signature. If you back it up one frame, it's not there. So I think we're waiting to see a few more scans to see if that is still there.
Okay, so that is worth watching as we move forward. And again, take a look at the velocity. This is our current location, and let's go to the reflectivity and see how that. Actually, I hit the wrong thing. Bear with me. Okay, there we go. So looks like it has moved a little bit further to the north. So Twin Forks Road, or Four Forks Road, and new data is coming in, moving right along that particular roadway. So it is continuing that path. Again, here's Cattle Drive. Again, Williams Road, all these areas of concern for this part of the storm right in here as it continues to move closer and closer to the Keithville area. It's been a while since we talked about as we wait for that to continue to move into closer to Keithville. Looks like the storm that we were tracking earlier in Natchitoches Parish has pretty much fallen apart as it has moved into Red River, I should say the northern sections of Natchitoches Parish. So that is no longer a concern. We do have another storm which is going to move soon into, actually it already is in Shelby County. You can see the latest information from here as it is approaching the Shelbyville, Texas area. A quick look at the velocity scan with this one, and you can see that this possible tornado right now a few miles south of Shelbyville is going to move towards the north and east. Again, here we are, just kind of zooming out for perspective. This is the state line, all right, towards the northern tip of Toledo Bend. And this could eventually, you can see that arrow that kind of shows us where this could go, could head fairly close to Mansfield and eventually up a little bit north of Grand Bayou and perhaps north of Hall Summit as where this could eventually go, again, if it holds together long enough. And we're talking, just kind of give you a sense of a longer range view of where this could be going. As far as Shelby County here, again, we're talking Shelbyville. Let's see if we have any roadways that pop on. Can't give you any specifics, unfortunately. And it does look like this is going to move across a rather rural part of Shelby County. So it will pass through the north of Huxley. So again, this one worth watching for you folks eventually in watching in the Mansfield area. Let's go back to our storm here in Caddo Parish. I know, Josh, you've been watching that. What have you noticed here in the last scan since I haven't looked at it?
Really, nothing has changed with it. Really hasn't strengthened. Looks like it, at least on radar, maybe has weakened just a touch. I was just talking with the Thunder Truck crew. They're over on I-49, so they will get a chance. I-49, I believe, in Burt Coons, so they will get a chance to intercept it most likely before we hit sunset. So they are in position to see that one. They're just kind of waiting for it to get to their location.
All right, so Ray Ford Thunder Truck, again, I-49 and Burt Coons, they're right here. It probably is going to come fairly close to that location. So let's see what we can see from the truck there. Again, they're on Interstate 49. They're at Burt Coons, and this is the view, probably looking back towards the to the north, I would suspect, is what we're looking at here. More than likely, is given since they're Burt Coons. That is obviously the inner loop, so they're probably looking north, and that is what we'll be. We'll watch this and keep a close eye on that and give you the latest view from the Ray Ford Thunder Truck as we take advantage of the last few minutes of daylight that we do have with the truck here. And again, this is the storm that we're watching. Again, you can kind of see that hook still indicated here, although still, notice the box is red. We still do not have anything as far as any confirmation of a touchdown as of yet. We thought we might have seen some hint of a debris signature, but it wasn't evident that we could concretely say that it was definitely a debris signature. But nonetheless, this is a storm which does still have the potential as it is getting closer to the Keithville area. Let me zoom this out and I'll show you this in a couple of different ways. Again, you can see the motion as it's moved out of Panola County and has moved into Caddo Parish. That is basically the path that it's taken. Let me show you the shear path with this, and you can see that it too, during the past hour, you can see how that actually hit the wrong thing. Getting a little punchy. All right, so there you go. You can see the path that this has taken here as it has moved into a little bit, it looks like a little bit of a left jaunt there with that last bit of information, but you can kind of see the path that this has taken here and where it is going to be going. Keithville, South Shreveport, South Bossier, again, probably close to, if not a little bit south of the Jimmy Davis Bridge is where that could be going. But as Josh mentioned, it does look like it maybe has weakened just a touch here with the latest view of the radar. And that could be, again, that's something that we saw with its predecessor up to the north as it moved deeper into Caddo Parish. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a new tornado warning coming out. They're calling this one observed. In this particular warning, it will be for Caddo as well as DeSoto and Bossier. So it looks like it may have had some kind of confirmation. There you go. Looks like it just popped onto the map there. So they're calling that a confirmed tornado. Okay. No reports through... well, here we go. In the chat room, one of the storm spotters there said, just tracked a tornado crossing 169 southwest of Shreveport. So again, not radar indicated, actually physically somebody confirming, seeing that and confirming it to the Weather Service that we do have a tornado crossing 169 just southwest of Shreveport.
All right, so that would be right here, and that's the reason why we now have a purple box instead of the red box. We have confirmation of a tornado touchdown. Again, that is Highway 169. I believe that is, it's kind of hard to see those numbers. They're both. Which one of those is 169, Josh?
Let me dive in there. I was just texting the Thunder Truck crew.
Okay.
Which you're looking out ahead of the storm there?
Near Four Forks Road, down towards Spring Ridge.
Yeah, so Four Forks Road is 169.
Okay.
So that main drag right there is where they had just crossed and actually seen it. We'll be crossing 789. That's that next fork, 789 coming up. By Four Forks Road, and then eventually crossing over I-49. So crew should be in pretty good position to see that as they kind of wait that out. But looks like it is going to be kind of headed up towards Williams Road, Rust Lane, and then eventually over towards the Keithville area. You can see Old Mooringsport Road actually goes through there as well. So those would be some of the communities that would be affected by this now confirmed tornado within the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. Also getting some reports there of looks like they're saying the tornado is no longer on the ground, that was 5 minutes ago, but they had some large tree branches lofted in the air that were falling out of the sky, and some pieces of plywood as well. So I think when we saw that debris signature earlier was probably what we saw there. And the person with eyes on it now is saying that it has lifted, but still, if you're in Keithville, please be in your place of safety here as that storm makes its way in.
And again, even further downstream, South Shreveport, South Bossier, we have a confirmed tornado now, which has since lifted, but we have at least a confirmation of a history of touchdowns. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. Keithville, South Shreveport. Let's zoom in here to the south part of Shreveport. Again, the Ray Ford Thunder Truck located right here. We'll, as this gets closer to that location, we'll give you a look at the radar here, and just to kind of show you some of the neighborhoods. Spring Lake Estates, maybe as far north of Cedar Grove, but that may be pushing it. Southern Loop, Ellerby Woods, Woodstone, Live Oak, again in Bossier City, Golden Meadows, Dixie Gardens, maybe Southern Gardens. All these areas, you should be in your place of safety. As you can see, the purple confirmed tornado. Go ahead, Josh. And
when you get done with that one, the circulation that moved through Bossier Parish, the confirmed tornado that we were watching earlier up through Elysian Fields, that same rotation looks like it has strengthened back up, so it is going to be moving. It's in Bossier Parish still, but it's going to be crossing into the Webster Parish, crossing over the Webster Parish line here, probably in the next 5 minutes or so. This is headed right into, it looks like Sarepta maybe, and then maybe up towards Shongaloo as well. Again, no confirmation, but the radar is suggesting that this circulation is tightening back up and maybe be preparing to put a tornado down.
All right, so again, this is the location that Josh just mentioned of our new tornado warning, which is further to the north. And again, this is the one that we were watching that moved, as Josh mentioned, moved through Blanchard, weakened as it crossed the river, moving towards Benton. That warning was expired or was canceled, and now we have seen it redevelop. And just kind of give you a closer look, this is Ivan Lake Road. Let's kind of move this cylinder. That looks like it's Goyle Road, if I'm reading that, or Gale Road, I assume. And then there's Sarepta and Thomasville Road. So that is the location of our possible tornado here over the extreme northern sections of Bossier Parish that is going to be moving further to the north and west over towards Shongaloo, again Sarepta, Shongaloo, and eventually we could see it move a little bit north of Haynesville. Let me get a sense on the exact, it may be moving more north than that. Just looking at the arrows here, it does look like it is. So just a correction, Sarepta, probably north of Shongaloo. See if I can get Shongaloo to pop back on the map. So Sarepta, a little bit north of Shongaloo, and then maybe into the southeastern sections of Columbia County is where this could eventually head. Haynesville, you will have to watch out, keep an eye on this, although it's still ways out. You can see this new tornado warning is in effect there for northern Webster, northern Bossier parishes until 5:30. p.m. This afternoon and this evening. Let's go back to our new confirmed tornado warning. And again, it has become a little bit more difficult to see the possible location of this via radar. But this is the part of the storm that has been causing the issues. It is, again, the Ray 4 Thunder Truck located right about here at the intersection of 49 and Burt Coons. And so let's take a look at what they are seeing there in the Ray 4 Thunder Truck as they are awaiting the arrival. It looks like they're on the move again, probably on the inner loop, headed back. It's kind of hard to see. I
don't know if they're headed south or maybe to get away from it, or if they're coming back our way.
I see sound barriers. I think that's 49.
Okay.
I think they're headed back north on 49. Let's see what this road is right here. Hollywood, yeah, it looks like they're on 49. So that would be my guess. I don't think that is 220. So looks like they're headed north, maybe to get out ahead of it, which, given the fact that we're running out of sunlight, daylight, I guess I should say, it's probably a good idea just to be on the safe side. You can see the rain that they're encountering there as they come up Interstate 49. Fortunately, traffic doesn't look like it's too thick at the present time. So again, that is the view from the Ray 4 Thunder Truck. Now traveling on Interstate 49 out ahead of this thunderstorm. They probably were not in the best of places anyway, so it's probably a good idea that they did get out of harm's way, if you will, from this particular storm. Again, the latest location of this, it is currently located. Again, it's very difficult to see this on the velocity scan. Let's take a look at another aspect of this. I really can't pinpoint an exact location. It's been a while, again, that we did have the confirmation back when it was traveling pretty close to Spring Ridge back here on Louisiana 169. It has since moved further to the north and east, and is again, it really is doesn't look as well organized. Wouldn't you agree, Josh?
The storm that's moving through, South Shreveport,
Yeah.
I would agree that it's definitely not as organized as it once was. I was just kind of keeping an eye on those storms in Shelby County to see if anything was going on there. Still a couple areas of rotation there, but nothing that would be confirmed on radar that we have a tornado. And so far haven't any confirmation, but those storms continue to spin out there.
All right, so Josh mentioning this, we have actually two areas of rotation.
Yes.
It looks like we have one that's just to the east of Newville. They're in southern Shelby County, and we have another one, again, red away, green towards rotation, and that's to northwest of Huxley. That would move up to close to maybe a little bit south of Stanley, and then eventually up towards Mansfield. So let me switch this over to future scan here and move this forward during the next hour. And you can kind of see that this will pass fairly close to Mansfield sometime between 5:30 and 5:45. Looks like right about there, 5:30, 5:45 is when Mansfield could get the heaviest part of that, if not a little bit south of there at that particular time frame. So that's where that could be going. Let's zoom out, and you can see that the main line itself is not going to make a whole lot of progress if future scan is correct. So we could be looking at it once it begins in Shreveport and Bossier City, a decent amount of rainfall. As that's also going to be a bit of a concern. As I showed you earlier, it's been a while. Update on how much rain has fallen. You can see these swaths. That's where radar is showing areas that have seen over 2 inches of rain thus far, and that's something that we'll see more of as these storms continue to slide their way to the south, but not really looking at too much as far as any widespread threat of flooding across the area. And so far, we really haven't had much as far as hail, which, of course, is always good news, too. The wind and the tornado threat is enough on days like today. So really, we're watching three areas. We have the storm that is moving across the southern sections of Shreveport right now in southern Caddo Parish. you can clearly see that it has weakened quite a bit.
And,
So
kind of interesting to note on that one that it is going to be passing close to the Weather Service office. You can see the little hole in the radar
that's
there.
right
That's
there.
actually where the radar site is located. So I believe they are sheltering in place out there. So the Fort Worth Weather Service office has taken over for our Shreveport Weather Service office, and they will be issuing a warning on the Shelby County storm that will extend over into DeSoto Parish.
So, and that's just, they have, when stuff like this happens, they have certain protocols, fail safes, okay, we got to go, and they have backups. When they lose power and stuff like that, there's always someone watching the weather. So, again, looks like they should be okay, but still, as this, you can kind of clearly see that storm compared to what it looked like down here as it was crossing into Caddo Parish. Again, right about in here is where we probably had, excuse me, a touchdown along 169 there. We did see what we thought was maybe a debris ball, and there was confirmation of a little bit of a touchdown. And again, that is clearly, you can kind of see that, is clearly not as organized now as it was then. Josh, if you could take it for a few minutes, I got to give the voice a rest.
Yeah, no problem. We'll kind of keep an eye on that storm that's down in Shelby County right now. Again, there's those two areas of rotation that we have. So we have one storm here that's going to be passing out of Newville, so you can clearly see the rotation there, and also some rotation that's going to be on the northern side of the county. So the Weather Service will be issuing that downstream warning. All indications are is that will be drawn up into DeSoto Parish. Nothing confirmed as far as any tornadoes here at the moment, but we have been watching these storms for quite some time here, and they've been kind of cycling like the other ones have. So the hope is that we'll just kind of see these things dissipate over the next little bit. Of course, we do have the storms that are up towards Cotton Valley, Sarepta. I mentioned the storm that was moving into Shongaloo area as well. We're still clearly seeing a little bit of rotation. It may not be quite as impressive as it was earlier, but you can see the area that we're watching there. And basically what you're looking at with this velocity product is just the rain that's being blown around in the storm. So the green here would be the rainfall being blown back towards the Shreveport radar site, and of course the red is the rain being blown away from it. So anytime you get those two colors coming close together like that, that's what we're looking at on radar, just to see if there's anything tornadic there. But you can see there's definitely still rotation. We're not picking anything up on debris at the moment there, and it looks like this storm that is now over Sarepta will still be moving up towards the Shongaloo area within the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. And then, as Todd had mentioned earlier, this one may eventually move up into Columbia County. Do have the lightning turned on here as well. So those of you that aren't dealing with the severe weather, we've had a ton of thunder and lightning out there as well. And that is something that we'll continue to see. In fact, if you look at where the tornado damage was earlier, we know there's probably crews out there trying to assist with some of the tornado damage that we've had over near Elysian Fields. We do have some storms that are moving through there at the moment that are bringing some thunder and lightning as well. So if you know anybody that is out there trying to assist with some of the storm coverage or storm recovery there, just give them the heads up. They have some storms that are moving through, but those storms that are currently moving through Harrison County and then down towards Panola County, those are currently not severe, but are bringing a lot of thunder and lightning. Of course, the main storm that we've been watching here for the past 45 minutes or so has been the one that's moving up through South Shreveport, so we can kind of loop that for you over the last hour or so, and you can see it's really started to lose some of its presentation here on radar, but again, it is close enough to the radar site that just may be a byproduct of it being close to the radar. So folks here that are in the tornado warning, please continue to be in your place of safety here. Again, that storm will be crossing out of Caddo Parish and into Bossier Parish here eventually, and then of course here is the downstream warning. It looks like we have the new warning in, so that warning will be in effect here until 5:45. Mentioned those two storms that are going to be moving up into DeSoto Parish. Mansfield, you are included in that warning. Warning does go until 5:45, so it would be closer to the expiration of that warning, maybe after 5:30, that the two storms would be up near Mansfield and one of those passing near Huxley as well. But again, with that, those cells, we are watching two areas of rotation here. And typically, you're looking at these things, the cell that's going to be further to the south, so the one that's down towards Shelbyville, that would likely be the dominant one. So if we do see those two cells merge, or if one of those kind of take over, it would be that cell that's further to the south here that'll eventually be moving up, likely between Mansfield and Benson here, but nothing as far as any confirmed tornado at the moment, but at this point still looking pretty impressive on radar.
And Josh, Weather Service saying they have resumed operations as.
Okay, not something you see every day.
That's true. It's not very often that an actual office, Weather Service office, is impacted by. They have to take cover with something as close as that was. And again, we do have the two areas that are left over here as far as the tornadic storms across the area. We have, as Josh mentioned, one cell which is moving out of Bossier Parish. You can see near Sarepta right now. You can see that cylinder popping on, and you can see the three severe weather indicators that give us basically an alert to the potential for severe weather. The pink one, that's the lesser of the three, usually shows us that there's a strong storm. Let me click on this one. You can see the information that it passes along, basically the height of the storm, probability of hail, the hail size, all that kind of good stuff. We'll kind of click that off, and you can kind of see the orange marker that was there. That is basically when the storm starts rotating. It shows us how strong its rotation. And when that rotation reaches a certain level, then that triggers these cylinders, which tend to coincide fairly well with a decent possibility for something eventually forming. And you might notice, too, that the farther we get from the radar, the taller these cylinders will get, because obviously the radar beam is hitting the storm a little bit higher up. But nonetheless, you can see the thunderstorms right now, which, again, this particular rotation does not look quite as impressive as it did on the previous scans here. As I'm trying to give us the latest information, I'm going to put this in the motion. You can see the thunderstorms here, and again, the right in here is the area. Right in here is that we're going to be looking at, which is, again, very close to Sarepta and is gradually moving off. Is now, it looks like it's a little bit to the north and east of Sarepta. Probably going to continue to move, excuse me, a little bit north of Shongaloo and eventually up towards the Emerson, Arkansas area there in the southwestern sections of Columbia County. Again, it looks like all is pretty much okay. We really can't see much as far as any rotation with that storm right now, which has been moving across the southern sections of Shreveport. It looks like it is moving into the heart of the metropolitan area as we speak. And that will continue here moving forward as the Weather Service has continued the tornado warning. But it looks like the brunt of that has moved outside of that particular that warning box that we do have in place, as it is moving again into Shreveport, and it will continue to move off towards the north and east. Further to the south, again, this is probably going to be the main concern here, is this cell, which at one point we were looking at two possible areas of rotation. We do have one that is located here. You can clearly see that, which is south of Stanley. That is going to potentially move up pretty close to the Mansfield area. And then we have another potential rotation and possible tornado a little bit to the east of Shelbyville. Let me play both of these, and you can see where these are going to be going here during the have gone and where they could be going. So this one pretty close to Mansfield. The one further to the south will take a track that is going to be a little bit south of that. So we could have a 1-2 punch here for the southwestern sections of Caddo Parish. And as Josh mentioned earlier, again, we are seeing the rotation here, but so far this box is red. That means that we do not have anything as far as a radar confirmation. We haven't seen any debris on the radar, nor have there been any eyes or damage reports associated with this. So this does basically mean that there is possibly a tornado that is currently located here south of Stanley, and that looks like Harts Bluff Road. Here's the Hunter community, and there is Mills Road, if I'm reading that correctly. Again, that is the current location of this one, very close to Hunter, south of Stanley. and you can see where that is in relation to Mansfield. So it does look like you folks in Mansfield, probably a good idea if you haven't already done so, head to your place of safety. You might take your phone with you. We are streaming our coverage where you can keep track on the progress of the storm as it approaches Mansfield. Of course, we'll let you know when it passes through your particular area. And again, we have another one which is east of Shelbyville, and this one is in a more rural part. It looks like north of the New Harmony community, and this one could take a path very similar to the one that's out ahead of it, maybe a little bit further to the south. We could see this slide its way south of Mansfield here, and this could, if you project this pink line further to the northeast, come closer to Grand Bayou here, where basically 84 and Highway 1 meet. They're just north and west of Coshada is where that one could be progressing. So that is the latest. Let's give you another look at what's happening here in Shreveport and Bossier City. Again, the heavy rains continue, mainly north of Interstate 20, as we do have some rather strong thunderstorms that are moving through downtown Shreveport as we speak. These moving into Bossier City. Let's zoom this in just a bit and see if we can see any semblance of anything that we can say. It looks like it's spinning. I really don't see anything that I can identify looking. Again, we're looking at something that's very close to the radar, so it's going to be very, very hard to detect. So I can't see anything with any specifics, I guess I should say, with that one. But we will see, again, as far as Shreveport is concerned, the thunderstorms across the area. As I try to get the radar, we'll see this band move through. We'll take a bit of a pause, and then we have a lot more rain off to the west that will move through later on in the next couple of hours early this evening. And notice something encouraging is that we do not have any warnings back here on this final line, as this would be your front. And as this moves in, we're pretty much from here on out probably going to be most concerned with the storms that are further to the south and east of this final line. Doesn't mean we're totally out of the woods. Obviously, we could have a brief spin up here, but keep in mind, a lot of these areas here have already been in advance of this line, have been worked over by these storms, so that could help things as far as preventing anything too significant as far as any tornado threat along the line. Doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet. The point I wanted to make is that the biggest threat, I think, for the rest of the evening will come from these individual cells that are out ahead of the line. And you can see a couple of more of these. Fortunately, these probably will pass to the east of us and head over towards Monroe. So we will have to watch this storm. Obviously, the storm right now over in northern Webster Parish, and then we'll have to keep an eye on the storms that are now down towards Sam Rayburn. They also could eventually move into the southeastern sections of the area.
And they will not be reissuing the Shreveport warning, so that one will be allowed to expire.
That's not surprising. It's kind of hard to...
Yeah, can't even find it there.
Yeah,
so.
It's not hard to see, which is good news. We did have what apparently was a brief touchdown there on Highway 169 southwest of Shreveport, over the southwestern corner of KTAL Parish. It looked like it kind of lost its strength, the organization and strength a bit as it approached the Keithville area, and it actually did make a little bit of a turn towards the more north as far as the heavier rain. So that, again, this tornado warning that is currently in place for Shreveport will not be extended, and it's in effect until 5:15, correct, Josh?
The one that's in center?
In Shreveport.
Or the one in Shreveport, yeah, that goes until 5:15. The warning down in DeSoto Parish goes until 5:45.
Okay. That's 5:45. So again, we're pretty much done with the tornado threat with this particular storm in Shreveport. What I want to do now is show you the where we go from here. You might be wondering, okay, how long is this going to last? Well, we have this final line of thunderstorms that is now to the west of us. Again, here we are at 5 o'clock, and you can see the little progress that it's going to be making here in the next couple of hours. And as we get closer to 9, 10 o'clock, we'll finally see a little bit of a push to the east And by the time we get to, say, 9, 10 o'clock, we should be pretty much done with most of the threat over most of the area. We'll have to keep an eye on parts of Natchitoches and Sabine parishes. But give us a couple of hours. Looks like the worst actually could be over for Shreveport, even though we do have that final line to move through. Definitely you've already seen the worst that you're going to see in the Texarkana area. And then we'll see a decrease in the rain temporarily, but more rain will develop later on tonight, more than likely to the west of the Arklatex, and that will begin to move into the region very late tonight into the morning hours, not looking at much as far as any severe weather threat with that particular activity. As far as the watches that we have in place, this is the latest tornado watch, again, for northwest Louisiana, East Texas. Notice it does not include East Texas, Northeast Texas, most of southwest Arkansas, or McCurtain County. If you're not in this watch, it looks like your threat or concerns of having severe weather are greatly reduced, as, again, the strongest of the storms have moved to your east. So, again, the main concern is probably going to really be in northwest Louisiana and maybe here in deep East Texas down towards center here for the next several hours. So that's the latest on the watches. And let's go back to Pinpoint Doppler here. And again, as of right now, have one final tornado warning that is currently in place across the area. And again, this one does feature 2 rotations currently. We do have the one rotation that is currently located again, which is southwest of Mansfield, red away, green towards. This is where a rotation is currently indicated. Another one northwest of Huxley, again, red away, green towards, counterclockwise rotation. That is northwest of Huxley. That's both of them moving towards the north and east. And it does look like we will see this come fairly close to the Mansfield area here in the next few minutes. Again, it looks like it is moving towards the northeast. See what the radar is calculating. Northeast at 40, which is pretty close to what we had in line earlier. So I'm just going to, you can see what it's showing based on what I clicked there. Mansfield 527. So about 10 minutes from now, we'll see this make its way into the Mansfield area. And then further upstream, we'll probably see it pass to the south and east of Kingston. If you basically draw a line here, this intersection in relation to Kingston, that will occur at about 5:39. So that is when we will see this move, again, kind of perhaps bring an impact to the Mansfield area. You got about 10 minutes before that gets to your particular part of the area. And just to do a quick storm track here, let me clear all this off the map here. And I'm going to use this tool to move this out. We know it's moving to the northeast at around 40 miles per hour. So draw it this way, and I'm going to have to move this somehow to the south. So again, it is showing Mansfield 547, but that's actually probably a little bit south of Mansfield. So that would move a little bit south of Mansfield, that second rotation at about 547. So that's what we're looking at as far as the possible arrival times with these particular thunderstorms that are to the south of Shreveport and are moving towards the north and east. So this is the main concern right now. We do have 2 rotations that we're watching very closely. The good news is, as I zoom this out, notice that with this line that is still to the west of Shreveport, that we do not have anything additional as far as warnings. In fact, it looks like that tornado warning that was issued earlier for northern Webster Parish has expired, or was it canceled? I believe it was expired. So again, that is no longer in effect. So we don't have any warnings at the present time for these thunderstorms.
I'm going to go talk to the news folks just in case we lose the warnings here, just so they have a plan together. So go ahead, and I'll circle back here.
Okay, thanks, Josh. Again, we have to make the transition since this is our last warning. And it looks like once this wraps up, we'll have to go to regular programming. Obviously, everyone else has to take over, so we're going to get them ready to be in position to do so. So again, this is the last warning that we have in place, and this very well could be the last warning that we have, although we do still have storms back down to the south here in deep East Texas, which still have the potential. Again, we're getting past sunset here shortly, if not already, and you can see that, so we'll start to cool off, but there's still some potential here during the evening hours over the southeastern sections of the area that these storms that come up from the south could still pose some sort of a tornado threat. A quick look at, let's show you some of the cameras from around the area and show you what we are seeing here. Again, the Ray Ford Thunder Truck, they're probably pretty close to home. This is the view from the truck. It looks like they're on the Cross Lake Bridge, if my knowledge of the interstate is correct, on the Cross Lake Bridge, looking rather ominous there with the clouds and obviously at twilight there. That's the view from there. Obviously in Texarkana things have improved as we are looking at pretty much dry conditions. Looks like traffic moving smoothly on Summerhill Road as we look at the Texarkana New Holland camera. And you can see the clouds a bit higher there in Texarkana, a little bit west of there in DeKalb, Texas. This is the view. All is quiet there in DeKalb with still quite a few clouds. In Marshall, you can see the camera there showing you, again, pretty much quiet conditions, quite damp in Marshall, but nothing as far as any significant rain. Coshada is an area that still has to deal with some thunderstorms. This is the current view from the Quality Ford camera there in the Coshada. This is looking back towards the east, so you can see that looks relatively quiet there so far in Coshada. So again, just kind of show you, this is where Coshada is located. It is relatively quiet there, and it looks like these storms for you folks in Coshada will probably stay to the north of Coshada right now. So
just letting you know, Todd, in the event that they do drop this warning and we do not have any warnings for the first time in several hours, we'll transition to the 5:30 newscast.
Okay.
So if they do drop that warning, we'll take it to 5:30
okay.
and then resume the news coverage at 5:30. But the plan is for us to carry this for at least a few more minutes here and do a clean transition to the 5:30, assuming that they do not extend that warning or we don't see any more warnings pop up.
And let's do that, Josh.
Yeah, knock on wood. Too.
Exactly. We don't need any more warnings. And just kind of give you an update for you folks watching in Mansfield on the location of this, again, possible rotation as we look at the velocity scan of the radar here. It still looks like we have this, again, fairly close to Mansfield at the present time. So, and again, it is, I mentioned earlier, 527. Looks like it's a good 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes away from impacting perhaps the Mansfield area. But just keep in mind, we still have nothing confirmed as far as any touchdowns as a result of that, basically as a result of this particular thunderstorm. And you can see this latest scan does look a little bit more impressive. So let me zoom in just a touch so you can see the reds away, green towards. This is our rotation here. Oak Hill, the community there, Lee Road. It looks like that is Radio Station Road. So in relation to Mansfield, you folks in Mansfield probably know those locations. We will see this move probably across Mansfield, maybe on the west half of town is where that actually could eventually end up going. And I'll zoom this out and kind of position it so that we can look at the last couple of scans and show you the progression of this as it is moved towards Mansfield. Here it comes right there, so you can kind of see it looks like it is going to move over the western half of Mansfield here fairly shortly. And this, again, latest scan of the radar does look a little bit more organized than the previous scan did. So let me pause that and zoom this out, and you can see the cluster and the second possible rotation here, which is over the northern tip of Toledo Bend, just now moving into the southwestern sections of DeSoto Parish. That probably will pass again close to maybe over towards the south and east half of Mansfield. So again, this cluster of thunderstorms featuring 2 areas of rotation which could present a threat for a tornado. Of the 2, The one that's near Mansfield right now clearly is the best indicated by looking at the velocity scan of the radar. Back to the north and west, again, you can see the area of showers and thunderstorms here across the Arklatex, which extends from northern Nacogdoches Parish to southern Rusk County to Carthage, seeing some heavy rain, but just emphasis, not severe at the present time. We do have the heavy rain falling in Wascom. Again, the worst is over for Marshall. Shreveport, we did see that one storm move through. That's this one right here. But a little bit of a lull over most of the metro area. All of this rain has to slowly move across the metro area. So if you haven't got any rain yet, be patient. It's coming. And you can see this line extends back up towards northern Bossier Parish as well as the southern sections of Columbia County there. And it looks like continues. Okay, I thought that said. Okay, so they continue for. Okay, so they're continuing forward to DeSoto Parish. They have canceled the warning, obviously, that we've already talked about further upstream back in Shelby County and Sabine Parish. So now our only warning is for this one, which is in effect until 5:45 p.m. this evening. We're going to stay with you until this particular warning either is canceled or expires here in the next couple of minutes. And again, this got another 20 minutes before this eventually does expire. And I mentioned the rainfall aspect of this. So let's kind of show, again, as we wait for new information to come in on that Mansfield storm, let's switch over and show you how much rain has fallen here with this line. This is just during the past 3 hours. So you can kind of see what the amount of rainfall that we could be dealing with in Shreveport and Bossier City as this line makes its way into the area. I'm going to kind of click on these yellow areas here, and of course I would click on something like that. All right, so you can see 2 to 3 inches of rain. We're talking just 3 hours, so there is potential there within this band, which is moving fairly slowly, again, that we could be looking at a quick 1, 2, maybe even 3 inches of rain as we have, again, these cells which are moving along this line. The line is not moving very fast, so you get heavy downpour after heavy downpour after heavy downpour moving over the same spots. So until this line starts to accelerate, we will see the potential of seeing a quick couple of inches of rain. Just keep that in mind if you do have to go somewhere this evening in Shreveport, that the usual spots, which tend to get some water issues because of heavy rain, that very well could occur this evening. Let's go back down to Mansfield and show you the latest on this storm here and the location of that possible tornado. Again, right now, let's kind of zoom in here. It looks like we're looking at this possible tornado, which is now pretty much over Mansfield, zeroing in here even closer. This is Washington Avenue. This is probably 84 as it heads off towards Texas. So, if not this, but you can kind of get a sense on the location of our possible tornado there in Mansfield. It looks like it is now crossing over into the northern sections of Mansfield.
It looks like they will extend that warning till 6.
Extending it till 6.
And that's because of the rotation near Mansfield.
Okay, so that is this one. So a new tornado warning is going to be issued here for this possible tornado that is now currently located near Mansfield, a little bit north of Mansfield. Let's show you, and you can see that new warning that has been issued, as Josh mentioned, in effect until 6 p.m. this evening, a new tornado warning for this possible tornado near Mansfield that is going to move up towards Cotton Belt Road, move up towards Carmel, maybe a little bit north. Sloan, all these areas, you should be in your place of safety just to be on the safe side. We'll continue to see it move up towards the north and east. Ninock here in extreme southern, I believe, Bossier Parish. Here's Lake Bistineau. So those are all areas where this possible tornado could eventually be headed. In fact, let me show you that with FutureScan. This has been provided a pretty good illustration given these things can move. So again, this is the location that this could eventually go. It looks like it will stay south of Minden, but will eventually come fairly close to, excuse me, like Bistineau, and then move into parts of Claiborne Parish. So we're talking about this storm right here and its progress across the rest of DeSoto Parish into extreme northwestern Red River Parish, southern Bossier Parish, close to Lake Bistineau, and then up into the southern sections of Webster Parish is where that potential tornado could go. So far, no word from Mansfield as far as any damage that has occurred from that particular storm. So that is the latest on that. And further to the south, we did have that second rotation that was, again, to the southwest of the current storm. So let me pause the radar here and check back on the velocity scan of the radar, and you can kind of see, kind of zero in. There's still something here, but it looks like that part of it is pretty much falling apart. You can kind of see this is much more well-defined. So it looks like of the two, more than likely, this is the one that we will have to keep an eye on as this continues to make the trek across the northwestern sections of DeSoto Parish. So that is the only warning that we currently have in place. Let's continue here and show you what has taken place as far as, first of all, if we have any issues with any of the storms. Again, so far damage reports have been few and far between. That doesn't mean that we haven't had damage, just means they haven't been reported yet. And you can see as far as the storms in Caddo and Webster parishes, we do have some reports of power outages. In Caddo Parish, only 100, 200 in Webster Parish, given the fact that we did have a confirmed touchdown in the southwest corner of Caddo Parish, and we have seen some rather strong storms move north of Shreveport. Again, this is a good sign that, again, we didn't have anything significant as far as damage from those. As we zoom the radar out, again, for the most part, not much, which, given the strength of the storms that we've had, it really kind of shows you that wind really hasn't come into play very much as far as producing anything widespread as far as damage with some of the thunderstorms that we've seen so far. In fact, take a look at peak winds here across the region during the since midnight, and you can see the strongest winds that we've seen earlier today was in Longview at 34 miles per hour. Did have a pretty good storm, which was one of the first tornado warnings that we had issued there for Longview. 34 mile per hour gusts, but you can see the gusts here at the various observation stations not as high as you might think, especially since, you know, we did have the Weather Service to cover because the storm was close by. Peak wind gusts at the airport there in Shreveport only 28 miles per hour. So this in part could offer an explanation that wind so far hasn't been too much of an issue as far as causing any significant damage across the area. Okay, so let's go back to our one tornado warning that is currently in place, and that is for the storm that again passed very close to Mansfield. If you're in Mansfield and are in your place of safety, you can probably, you're probably okay. You can see back here to the west. I really don't see much more as far as anything additional. As far as the rotation that was behind this additional one has greatly diminished and is no longer there. But you can clearly see of the two areas that we do have the best chance of having something now to the northeast of Mansfield. So if you're in Mansfield, things looking okay right now. We'll see this continue to move up towards Ninock and then up towards pretty close to Lake Bistineau, maybe a little bit south of there. And then it moves into southern Webster Parish, probably as well as Bienville Parish between Jamestown and Heflin. That's where this particular possible tornado could eventually head here during the next few hours. So again, nothing so far. Given the fact that this did pass very close to Mansfield, I don't know if anyone's in the newsroom has called down to Mansfield to find out if we have any damage, as this rotation did move right over Mansfield here about 5-10 minutes ago. So we'll do some checking to see if anything has been confirmed.
Looks like we may have had some debris there. I'm not, it does kind of line up with where the storm was, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was something on the ground there, but looks like we may still have some debris with that one too.
Okay, let me take a peek at that. I don't see anything. Where are you seeing it? Further to the north? Hey, Josh,
yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Just looking at it on radar, you can see right here, maybe some debris signature just to the northeast of Mansfield. But if you kind of back that up, right over Mansfield there, it does kind of line up with where we did see the potential tornado there. So don't know if there's anything still there, but yeah, possible that we're seeing some debris.
It's possible. So we'll try to get some confirmation on that. The fact that we don't have that purple box there means that it hasn't been yet confirmed by the Weather Service. But again, this is the storm that you're watching there that is now northeast of Mansfield. So it looks like we have seen that clear Mansfield. So we'll do some checking to see, since it did move, again, very close to, if not right over Mansfield. It's if something was there, then chances are that we are going to be hearing about it relatively quickly, as we'll probably start to see some power issues with that as well. Numbers at least begin to chime in. I showed you that earlier, and there wasn't anything in DeSoto Parish yet, but there is a bit of a delay because it takes time to get those reported, and then we have to get the data into the system. So a good 10, 20 minutes after those reports are received that we actually start seeing them in our system. And again, that information too is also on our website. So again, this is again looking at the basically debris, and I think this is what Josh was mentioning right here, how that lines up right there, bam, bam. So that could be what, again, just speculating here, it could be some indication of debris, and I'll play this with the velocity, and again, we saw it right there. Yeah, you can see how that matches up here in the northeastern sections of Mansfield. So that is a possibility. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle this right here. So that's where we had the rotation. Then I'm going to go back, and you'll see how, and this goes back to, that was a good eye, Josh, seeing that. You can see the right there, and see how that matched up with the velocity signature that I pointed out here. So it is possible. Again, we're just still nothing official. It is possible that could be an indication that there may have been a touchdown there in Mansfield. Still waiting to get official word on that as well. All right, let's give you the latest on where this is currently located. It does look a little bit weaker now, and you can kind of see the reds and greens more clearly here. It looks like it's broadening out some, so it doesn't look quite as strong now as it was when it was closer to Mansfield, as it is crossing Interstate 49 there, pretty close to looks like Steen Road, if I'm reading that correctly, is where this rotation is crossing Interstate 49. So it does look like we are seeing that, at least for now, a little bit of a decrease in the organization of that particular possible tornado there in Mansfield. We do have some information? Okay, thanks. Okay, good. So from Mansfield, police department says we did call. No damage reported yet, which we'll take. All right, we like good news. So that's good news is, again, we did have that possible tornado move through at least some part of Mansfield, and police department said there have been no reports of damage in that particular area as of yet. Thanks for checking that out, those folks in the newsroom. So that being said, let's show you the latest, and you're probably hearing that sound, that roar. That is the heavy rain, which is arriving here on North Market at the NBC 6 studios. And it's only going to continue, as this is the beginning of what probably will be a pretty good period of moderate to heavy rain for Shreveport, which, again, probably will come without much of a severe weather threat the way it looks right now. And you can see, as far as Mansfield is concerned, again, we had our possible tornado there, moved right across Mansfield, just call the Mansfield Police Department. They say no reports of anything as far as damage there in Mansfield, and it looks like we're looking at what's left of this crossing Interstate 49 there, probably several miles near Steen Road, if I remember that correctly, just to the north and east of Mansfield. That's going to head up towards Nynock, maybe a little bit north of Ringgold, and probably a little bit between there and Heflin, Louisiana. If it holds together, again, definitely does not look as well-defined now as compared to what it did when it was especially near Mansfield and further to the south and east. That is the only tornado warning that we currently have in place. As we look at the overall view here, you can see the line of showers and thunderstorms, which extends from the eastern and southeastern sections of Columbia County down to Haynesville, does go down further to the south into northern Webster Parish near Cotton Valley. You can see the line of storms extending from Benton to Oil City that goes down towards the northern sections of Shreveport. Again, we're right about in here, and we're starting to see the heavy downpours in North Shreveport right now. This does extend back to the west, so we're probably looking at a good at least hour of a decent rain in Shreveport once it begins in your particular part of the city. We'll see this line extend back down towards Carthage. Notice, too, as I zoom this out, that we have no boxes along this line right now, which tells you that we have no warnings that are currently in place. There is a white box here. Those white boxes are basically severe weather statements, which is a level below severe thunderstorm warning. It's usually call attention that we have a decent storm, not quite severe, but you could see some decent gusts from it. And again, that type of information is passed along in those special weather statements, and still no warnings that are currently in place along that line. So it does appear as if the tornado threat is wrapping up along this line itself. It's not to say that we're totally out of the woods. It's still quite possible we could see a brief spinner associated with that, but we'll have to keep an eye on the thunderstorms that are further to the south here, developing south of Toledo Bend. Those could graze the eastern edges of the Arklatex here in the next few hours. And again, we do have more thunderstorms here that are south of Sam Rayburn. These could move across the southeastern edge of the area as well. But keep in mind, these are going to be encountering part of the region which has already been worked over a little by previous thunderstorms there earlier this evening. So again, we do have one tornado warning that is in effect until 6 o'clock, I should say, for this thunderstorm here. Let me pause the radar and show you the velocity scan, and this continues to be, looks like it continues to weaken. So
yeah, and I would say it's completely gone. Looks like the Weather Service is going to let it ride until 6 o'clock, just given the history of rotation there. But I really think the danger is subsiding with that one.
Yeah, so, and it looks like that would be it as far as the warnings that we have. So we got another 20 minutes, if the voice can make it that far, Josh, as far as the this particular warning that's in place that we'll, excuse me, have to keep an eye on, as it's now a little bit south of Kingston, north of Mansfield. Again, we did have an indication of a possible tornado near Mansfield, which, again, we did contact the Mansfield Police Department, and they did inform us that there have been no reports of damage as of yet. Josh, take it away. I gotta get
not a problem. You've been going all day. It's quite the amazing feat here. Again, we are watching the storm. The only tornado warning that we have left at the moment here is with the storm moving up through DeSoto Parish. Weather Service says they are going to let this warning go until 6 o'clock, but we have clearly lost most of the rotation with that one. But given the history of these storms kind of weakening and then cycling back up, I think it's probably just the right decision to let that warning go. If you are in Shreveport-Bossier, the rain is starting to pick back up. The severe weather threat is pretty much winding down here, so this is just going to be rainfall for the Shreveport area over the next hour or two. Could hear some thunder and lightning, but again, the potential for any severe weather is very low. Still have some strong storms here in Columbia County as well, near Emerson. You can see maybe the winds there making their way through. That storm is going to be moving up towards Atlanta, Arkansas. Could have some gusty winds just on the leading edge of that. So once that storm clears Columbia County, the severe weather threat for all of Arkansas will pretty much be over. You can see things starting to dry out here in Texarkana, so the severe weather threat is done for you. And will be a lot of cold air coming in. I know Todd will be talking more about this in the newscast later this evening as well as tonight. But with this cold front coming in, we're actually going to have temperatures that drop into the 40s tonight, likely highs in the 50s and low 60s tomorrow. Then the colder air will get here Thursday, Friday, and over the weekend. So I know we've all been kind of waiting for those cold temperatures, those winter temperatures to return. Looks like they will be kind of coming back here in the upcoming days. And it looks like they are going to cancel the tornado warning for DeSoto Parish early. So that will be going away shortly. So they're checking in, I guess, on the Mansfield area, some of the storm spotters there. But it looks like as of right now, we are going to see that tornado warning for DeSoto Parish get canceled early, which is obviously great news for everyone there as the cold front continues to now make its way down through Shreveport. So Shreveport, you're looking at some heavy, likely steady rain for at least the next hour or two. So for the next few hours here, just look out for some flooded roadways. We do know that these storms out there have dropped a good 2 to 3 inches of rain in some spots, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. By the time everything is said and done in Shreveport, we'll have seen over about 2, maybe 3 inches of rainfall. So I do think if you're in the Shreveport area, commuting home in the next hour or two or just going out on the town, there will be some flooded roadways. Kind of the typical areas in your neighborhood, those locations will be the ones that are taking on high water. But again, first time here in about, I can't remember when the first warning was, but we are actually tornado warning free for the first time in several hours here. We do, just a reminder that we do have that watch that does go until 10 p.m. So can't rule out the possibility that one of these storms down here south of the cold front, we'll have to keep an eye on all of these storms for the next few hours because it's still possible one of those could move up into, let's say, Sabine, Natchitoches, even over towards Bienville and Claiborne Parish. So not completely out of the woods yet as far as the tornado threat, but now that we're past sunset, these temperatures will cool down. If you've been watching us throughout the day, we've been kind of talking about how the warm air has played a big part in this, where those temperatures were in the 70s. That's where we saw those storms fire up today. But it does look like these storms here will hopefully continue to dissipate, and hopefully we do not have to deal with any more tornado warnings as we continue through the evening and overnight here. Mentioned there may be some more rain that comes through late tonight or early tomorrow morning. Possibility we get a few thunderstorms going maybe early tomorrow morning as well. There won't be much of a tornado or wind threat, but given the cold temperatures coming in, we could see some hail with a few of the storms that are able to move through tomorrow morning. But we should have some clouds early, and then I think we'll begin to see things really dry out as we continue through the day. So hopefully we'll close out the day tomorrow seeing a little bit of sunshine. But as I mentioned here, it looks like the storm threat, at least for the short term, is starting to wind down here in northwest Louisiana. There's our storm that moved out of Mansfield, and you can see they have dropped the tornado warning on that, and really not seeing anything on radar that would be of any kind of concern at the moment.
And Josh, the Weather Service indicating that they have had someone just go through the center of Mansfield with no reportable issues.
Great.
So that is a good sign that we did not have anything actually touch down there in Mansfield. The Weather Service saying they're going to continue that tornado watch for Columbia, Union counties, Bienville, basically all the area that is currently under the watch. That's in effect until 10 p.m. Pretty much everybody ahead of this final line of thunderstorms. Again, we're going to stick with you until 6 o'clock, and then we'll hand things over to the regular 6 p.m. newscast, assuming we don't have any further tornado warnings that are issued by the National Weather Service. And considering that we've been fairly fortunate, given the number of warnings that we have had today, that we haven't had any more additional reports of any issues across the region. Josh